Jack Leon Ruby, born Jacob Leon Rubenstein, C. Left square bracket 1 right square bracket left square bracket 2 right square bracket April 25, 1911 and January 3, 1967, was an American nightclub owner and alleged associate of the Chicago outfit. He murdered Lee Harvey Oswald on November 24, 1963, 2 days after Oswald was accused of the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. A Dallas jury found Ruby guilty and sentenced him to death. Ruby's conviction was later appealed, and he was to be granted a new trial. However, he became ill in prison, was diagnosed with cancer, and died of a pulmonary embolism on January 3, 1967. In September 1964, the Warren Commission concluded that Ruby acted alone in killing Oswald, shooting him on impulse and out of grief over Kennedy's assassination. These findings were challenged by various critics who suggested that Ruby was involved with major figures in organized crime and that he was acting as part of an overall plot surrounding the assassination of Kennedy. Early life and career. Ruby was born Jacob Leon Rubenstein left square bracket 4 right square bracket on or around March 25 or April 25, 1911, left square bracket 2 right square bracket in the Maxwell Street area of Chicago, the son of Joseph Rubenstein and Fanny Kira Kwiatkowski, or Rakowski, both Polish-born Orthodox Jews from Sokolow. Ruby was the fifth of his parents' 10 surviving children. While he was growing up, his parents were often violent towards each other and frequently separated. Ruby's mother was eventually committed to a mental hospital. Left square bracket 5 right square bracket His troubled childhood and adolescence were marked by juvenile delinquency, with time being spent in foster homes. At age 11 in 1922, he was arrested for truancy. Ruby eventually skipped school so often that he had to spend time at the Institute for Juvenile Research. Still a young man, he sold horse racing tip sheets and various novelties, then acted as a business agent for a local refuse collectors union that later became part of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters. Left square bracket 6 right square bracket 332. From his early childhood, Ruby was nicknamed Sparky by those who knew him. Left square bracket 7 right square bracket His sister, Eva Grant, said that he acquired the nickname because he resembled a slow-moving horse named Sparkplug or Sparky in the contemporary comic strip Barney Google. Sparkplug debuted as a character in the strip in 1922, when Ruby was 11. Left square bracket 7 right square bracket Other accounts say that the name was given because of his quick temper. Left square bracket 7 right square bracket In either event, Grant stated that Ruby did not like the nickname Sparky, and was quick to fight anyone who called him that. Left square bracket 7 right square bracket. In the 1940s, Ruby frequented racetracks in Illinois and California. He was drafted in 1943 and served in the U.S. Army Air Forces during World War II, working as an aircraft mechanic at U.S. bases until 1946. He had an honorable record and was promoted to private first class. Upon discharge, in 1946, Ruby returned to Chicago. Left square bracket 5 right square bracket. In 1947, Ruby moved to Dallas, purportedly because of the failure of merchandise deals in Chicago and to help operate his sister's nightclub. Left square bracket 7 right square bracket Soon afterward he and his brothers shortened their surnames from Rubenstein to Ruby. The stated reason for this was that the name Rubenstein was too long and that he was well known as Jack Ruby. Left square bracket 8 right square bracket Ruby later went on to manage various nightclubs, strip clubs, and dance halls. He developed close ties to many Dallas police officers who frequented his nightclubs, where he provided them with free liquor, prostitutes and other favors. Left square bracket 9 right square bracket. Ruby never married and had no children. Left square bracket 10 right square bracket At the time of the assassination, Ruby was living with George Senator, who referred to Ruby as my boyfriend during the Warren Commission hearing, but denied the two being homosexual lovers. Warren Commission lawyer Bert Griffin later told author Gerald Posner, "I'm not sure if Senator was honest with us about his relationship with Ruby. People did not advertise their homosexuality in 1963 inches. Left square bracket 11 right square bracket. illegal activities. Some critics have said that Ruby was involved in criminal activity. Left square bracket 12 right square bracket left square bracket 6 right square bracket left square bracket 13 right square bracket and linked to organized crime. Left square bracket 14 right square bracket left square bracket 15 right square bracket. He had been involved in illegal gambling, narcotics, and prostitution. Left square bracket 16 right square bracket. He belonged to an organization known as the Yiddish Connection. Left square bracket 17 right square bracket. A 1956 FBI report stated that informant Eileen Curry had moved to Dallas in January with her boyfriend James Breen after jumping bail on narcotics charges. Breen told her that he had made connections with a large narcotics setup operating between Texas, Mexico, and the East, and that James got the okay to operate through Jack Ruby of Dallas. Left square bracket 18 right square bracket. Dallas County Sheriff Steve Guthrie told the FBI that he believed that Ruby operated some prostitution activities and other vices in his club in Dallas. Left square bracket 13 right square bracket. On March 11, 1959, FBI agent Charles W. Flynn of the Dallas office approached Ruby to become a federal informant due to his job as a nightclub operator, since he might have knowledge of the criminal element in Dallas. Left square bracket 19 right square bracket. Ruby was willing to become an informant and was contacted by the FBI 8 times between March 11, 1959 and October 2, 1959, but he provided no information to the Bureau. He was not paid, and contact ceased. Left square bracket 20 right square bracket left square bracket 21 right square bracket. Dallas disc jockey Kenneth Dow testified that Ruby was known around the station for procuring women for different people who came to town. Left square bracket 22 right square bracket. Character. According to the people interviewed by law enforcement and the Warren Commission, Ruby was desperate to attract attention to himself and to his club. He knew a great number of people in Dallas, but he had only a few friends. His business ventures remained unsuccessful and he was heavily in debt. Left square bracket 11 right square bracket. The commission received reports of Ruby's penchant for violence. He had a volatile temper, and often resorted to violence with employees who had upset him. He acted as the bouncer of his own club and beat his customers on at least 25 occasions. The fights would often end with Ruby throwing his victims down the club stairs. Left square bracket 11 right square bracket. Government officials also heard stories of Ruby's eccentric and unstable behavior. He sometimes took his shirt or other clothes off in social gatherings, and then either hit his chest like a gorilla or rolled around the floor. During conversations, he could change the topic suddenly in mid-sentence. He sometimes welcomed a guest to his club, but on other nights forbade the same guest from entering. He was described by those who knew him as a crook, totally unpredictable, a psycho, and suffering from some form of disturbance. Left square bracket 11 right square bracket. During the 1970s, prominent psychiatrist Irene Jacob, who was known for her use of art therapy in diagnosing and treating patients with mental illness, analyzed artwork that had been created by Ruby while he was in jail. While assessing one of Ruby's drawings, which had been included as part of art exhibits at the World Congress of Psychiatry meeting in Waikiki, Hawaii and the University of Hawaii in late August and early September 1977, she observed that his work conveyed repressed aggression and secretiveness, adding, left square bracket 23 right square bracket. Notice how he really constricts himself so as not to reveal himself. He hides behind all those geometrical lines and pointed edges. You can feel his controlled aggression. John F. Kennedy assassination. Main article. Assassination of John F. Kennedy. November 21. The Warren Commission attempted to reconstruct Ruby's movements from November 21, 1963, through November 24. Left square bracket 24 right square bracket 333. The commission reported that he was attending to his duties as the proprietor of the Carousel Club located at 1312 1/2 Commerce Street in downtown Dallas and the Vegas Club in the city's Oak Lawn district. From the afternoon of November 21 to the early hours of November 22. Left square bracket 24 right square bracket 333. November 22, assassination of Kennedy. According to the Warren Commission, Ruby was in the second-floor advertising offices of the Dallas Morning News, 5 blocks away from the Texas School Book Depository, placing weekly advertisements for his nightclubs. When he learned of the assassination around 12:45 p.m. left square bracket 24 right square bracket 334 and 335 Ruby then made phone calls to his assistant at the Carousel Club and to his sister. Left square bracket 24 right square bracket 334 The commission stated that an employee of the Dallas Morning News estimated that Ruby left the newspaper's offices at 1:30 p.m., but indicated that other testimony suggested that he had left earlier. Left square bracket 24 right square bracket 334 and 335 According to the Warren Commission, Ruby arrived back at the Carousel Club shortly before 1:45 p.m. to notify employees that the club would be closed that evening. Left square bracket 24 right square bracket 336 and 337 John Noonan, an employee at the newspaper's advertisement department, testified that Ruby became upset over an anti-Kennedy ad published in the morning news that was signed by the American Fact-Finding Committee. Bernard Weissman, chairman. Ruby was sensitive to antisemitism and was distressed that an ad attacking the president was signed by a person with a Jewish name. Early next morning, Ruby noticed a political billboard featuring the text "Impeach Earl Warren" in block letters. Ruby's sister Eva testified that Ruby had told her that he believed that the anti-Kennedy ad and the anti-Warren sign were connected and were a plot by a Gentile to blame the assassination on the Jews. Left square bracket 11 right square bracket. Ruby was seen in the halls of the Dallas Police Headquarters on several occasions after Oswald's arrest for the murder of Dallas policeman J.D. Tippit on November 22, 1963. He was present at an arranged press meeting with Oswald. A reporter asked Oswald, "Did you kill the president?" And Oswald answered, his voice breaking, "No, I have not been charged with that. In fact, nobody has said that to me yet. The first thing I heard about it was when the newspaper reporters in the hall asked me that question." Left square bracket 25 right square bracket. A reporter told Oswald that he had been charged and Oswald looked shocked. Left square bracket 26 right square bracket. Newsreel footage from WFA TV, Dallas, and NBC shows that Ruby impersonated a newspaper reporter during a press conference held by District Attorney Henry Wade at Dallas Police Headquarters that night. Left square bracket 6 right square bracket 349 Wade briefed reporters that Oswald was a member of the Anti-Castro Free Cuba Committee. Ruby was one of several people there who spoke up to correct Wade, saying, "Henry, that's the Fair Play for Cuba Committee, a pro-Castro organization." Left square bracket 27 right square bracket left square bracket 28 right square bracket left square bracket 6 right square bracket 349 and 350 Ruby later told the FBI that he had his Colt Cobra .38 revolver in his right pocket during the press conference. Left square bracket 29 right square bracket left square bracket 30 right square bracket left square bracket 6 right square bracket 3501. November 24, killing of Oswald. Photo taken by Robert H. Jackson showing Ruby shooting Oswald, who is being escorted by Dallas Police Detective Jim Lavelle. Left. On November 24, Ruby drove into town with his pet dachshund Sheba to send an emergency money order at the Wells Fargo on Main Street to one of his employees. The timestamp was 11:17 a.m. for the cash transaction on the money order. Ruby then walked half a block to the nearby Dallas Police Headquarters, where he made his way into the basement via either the Main Street ramp left square bracket 31 right square bracket or a stairway accessible from an alleyway next to the Dallas Municipal Building. Left square bracket 32 right square bracket. Authorities were escorting Oswald through the police basement at 11:21 a.m. CST to an armored car that was to take him to the nearby county jail, when Ruby emerged from a crowd of reporters with his .38 Colt Cobra revolver left square bracket 33 right square bracket aimed at Oswald's abdomen. Ruby shot him at point blank range, mortally wounding him. Left square bracket 34 right square bracket. The bullet entered Oswald's left side in the front part of the abdomen and caused damage to his spleen, stomach, aorta, vena cava, kidney, liver, diaphragm, and 11th rib before coming to rest on his right side. Left square bracket 35 right square bracket. Oswald made a cry of anguish and his manacled hands clutched at his abdomen as he writhed with pain, and he slumped to the concrete paving, where he moaned several times. Police Detective Billy Combest recognized Ruby and exclaimed, "Jack, you son of a bitch." Left square bracket 36 right square bracket. Left square bracket 37 right square bracket. Ruby was immediately subdued by police as a moaning Oswald was carried back into the basement level jail office. Combest asked Oswald, "Do you have anything you want to tell us now?" Oswald shook his head. Left square bracket 38 right square bracket 184 and 185. He lost consciousness shortly after and was taken by ambulance to Parkland Memorial Hospital, the same hospital where Kennedy had died 2 days earlier. Oswald died there at 1:07 p.m. Left square bracket 4 right square bracket. The crowd outside the headquarters burst into applause when they heard that Oswald had been shot. Left square bracket 39 right square bracket. A network television pool camera was broadcasting live to cover the transfer. Millions of people watching on NBC witnessed the shooting as it happened and on other networks within minutes afterward. Left square bracket 40 right square bracket. Several photographs were taken of the event, capturing the moments around when Ruby pulled the trigger. In 1964, Robert H. Jackson of the Dallas Times-Herald was awarded the Pulitzer Prize for photography for his image of the shooting of Oswald. Left square bracket 41 right square bracket. Prosecution. See also, Ruby v. Texas. Jack Ruby. After his arrest, Ruby said that he had been distraught over President Kennedy's death and had helped the city of Dallas redeem itself in the eyes of the public, and that he was saving Mrs. Kennedy the discomfiture of coming back to trial. Left square bracket 42 right square bracket 198 and 200. He also claimed that he shot Oswald on the spur of the moment, when the opportunity presented itself, without considering any reason for doing so. Left square bracket 42 right square bracket 199. Ruby told the FBI that he was in mourning Friday and Saturday. He said that he cried when he heard that the president was shot, cried a great deal Saturday afternoon, and was depressed Saturday night. He explained that this grief was caused by him being an admirer of President Kennedy and the Kennedy family. The anguish over the assassination, Ruby stated, finally reached the point of insanity, suddenly compelling him to shoot, when Oswald walked in front of him in the basement that Sunday morning. Left square bracket 43 right square bracket. At the time of the shooting, Ruby said that he was taking phenmetrazine, a central nervous system stimulant. Left square bracket 42 right square bracket 198 and 199. Ruby asked Dallas attorney Tom Howard to represent him. Howard accepted and asked Ruby if he could think of anything that might damage his defense. Ruby responded that there would be a problem if a man by the name of Davis should come up. Ruby told his attorney that he had been involved with Davis, who was a gunrunner entangled in anti-Castro efforts. Left square bracket 44 right square bracket. Left square bracket 45 right square bracket. Later, Ruby replaced attorney Tom Howard with prominent San Francisco defense attorney Melvin Belli, who agreed to represent him pro bono. Ruby broke into tears at his bond hearing in January 1964, as he talked to reporters regarding the assassination of Kennedy. He said that he could not understand how a great man like that could be lost. On March 14, 1964, Ruby was convicted of murder with malice and was sentenced to death. Ruby's conviction was overturned by the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals on the grounds that an oral confession of premeditation made while in police custody should have been ruled inadmissible, because it violated a Texas criminal statute. Left square bracket 46 right square bracket. The court also ruled that the venue should have been changed to a Texas county other than the one in which the high-profile crime had been committed. Left square bracket 46 right square bracket. During the 6 months following Kennedy's assassination, Ruby repeatedly asked to speak to the members of the Warren Commission. The commission initially showed no interest, but Ruby's sister Eileen wrote letters to the commission and her letters became public. The Warren Commission then agreed to talk to Ruby. In June 1964, Chief Justice Earl Warren, Representative, and future President Gerald R. Ford of Michigan, and other commission members went to Dallas to see Ruby. Ruby asked Warren several times to take him to Washington, D.C., saying that my life is in danger here and that he wanted an opportunity to make additional statements. He added that the people from whom he felt himself to be in danger were the John Birch Society of Dallas, including Edwin Walker, who who he claimed were trying to falsely implicate him as being involved in a conspiracy to assassinate the president. Left square bracket 42 right square bracket 194 and 196. He added, I want to tell the truth, and I can't tell it here. Left square bracket 42 right square bracket 194. Warren told Ruby that he would be unable to comply, because many legal barriers would need to be overcome, and public interest in the situation would be too heavy. Warren also told Ruby that the commission would have no way of protecting him, since it had no police powers. Ruby said that he wanted to convince President Lyndon Johnson that he was not part of any conspiracy to kill Kennedy. Left square bracket 42 right square bracket 209 and 212. Eventually, the appellate court agreed with Ruby's lawyers that he should be granted a new trial. On October 5, 1966, the court ruled that his motion for a change of venue before the original trial court should have been granted. Ruby's conviction and death sentence were overturned. Arrangements were underway for a new trial to be held in February 1967. Left square bracket 47 right square bracket in Wichita Falls, Texas, but Ruby was admitted to Parkland Hospital in Dallas on December 9, 1966, suffering from pneumonia. A day later, doctors discovered cancer in his liver, lungs, and brain. His condition rapidly deteriorated. According to an unnamed Associated Press source, Ruby made a final statement from his hospital bed on December 19, 1966 that he alone had been responsible for the murder of Oswald. Left square bracket 48 right square bracket there is nothing to hide, Ruby said. There was no one else. Double quote. Left square bracket 49 right square bracket. Death. See also, Earl Rose, coroner, section signed Jack Ruby. Headstone at Ruby's grave in West Lawn Cemetery. Ruby died of a pulmonary embolism on January 3, 1967 at Parkland Hospital, the same facility where both Oswald and Kennedy died. Left square bracket 50 right square bracket left square bracket 51 right square bracket he was buried beside his parents in the West Lawn Cemetery in Norridge, Illinois. Left square bracket 52 right square bracket left square bracket 53 right square bracket left square bracket 54 right square bracket. Official investigations. Warren Commission. The Warren Commission found no evidence linking Ruby's killing of Oswald with any broader conspiracy to assassinate Kennedy. Left square bracket 24 right square bracket in 1964, the Warren Commission provided a detailed biography of Ruby's life and activities to help ascertain whether he was involved in a conspiracy to assassinate Kennedy. Left square bracket 55 right square bracket the commission indicated that there was not a significant link between Ruby and organized crime. Left square bracket 56 right square bracket and said he acted independently in killing Oswald. Left square bracket 57 right square bracket left square bracket 24 right square bracket 373 and 374. Warren Commission investigator David Bellin said that Postal Inspector Harry Holmes arrived and announced at the Dallas police station on the morning that Ruby shot Oswald and, upon invitation by the investigators, had questioned Oswald, thus delaying his transfer by half an hour. Left square bracket 58 right square bracket Bellin concluded that, had Ruby been part of a conspiracy, he would have been downtown 30 minutes earlier, when Oswald had been scheduled to be transferred. Left square bracket 58 right square bracket. In Gerald Posner's book Case Closed, Lee Harvey Oswald and the Assassination of JFK, Ruby's friends, relatives and associates claimed that he was upset over President Kennedy's death, even crying on occasions and closing his clubs for 3 days, as a mark of respect. Left square bracket 59 right square bracket they also disputed the conspiracy claims, saying that Ruby's connection with gangsters was minimal at most and that he was not the sort of person who would be entrusted with an important assassination as part of a high-level conspiracy. Left square bracket 59 right square bracket. Dallas reporter Tommy Zoppi, who knew Ruby well, claimed that one would have to be crazy to entrust Ruby with anything as important as a high-level plot to kill Kennedy, since he couldn't keep a secret for 5 minutes. Jack was one of the most talkative guys you would ever meet. He'd be the worst fellow in the world to be part of a conspiracy, because he just plain talked too much. Left square bracket 59 right square bracket 361, 399 he and others described Ruby as the sort who enjoyed being at the center of attention, trying to make friends with people and being more of a nuisance. Left square bracket 59 right square bracket. Some writers, including former Los Angeles District Attorney Vincent Bugliosi, dismiss Ruby's connections to organized crime as being highly minimal. It is very noteworthy that without exception, not one of these conspiracy theorists knew or had ever met Jack Ruby. Without our even resorting to his family and roommate, all of whom think the suggestion of Ruby being connected to the mob is ridiculous. Those who knew him, unanimously and without exception, think the notion of his being connected to the mafia, and then killing Oswald for them, is nothing short of laughable. Left square bracket 60 right square bracket. Bill Alexander, who prosecuted Ruby for Oswald's murder, equally rejected any suggestions that Ruby was involved with organized crime, claiming that conspiracy theorists based it on the claim that a newbie and Ruby knew B back in 1950, so he must have known A, and that must be the link to the conspiracy. Left square bracket 59 right square bracket. Ruby's brother Earl denied allegations that Jack was involved in racketeering Chicago nightclubs, and author Gerald Posner suggested that witnesses may have confused Ruby with Harry Rubenstein, a convicted Chicago felon. Left square bracket 59 right square bracket. Entertainment reporter Tony Zoppi was also dismissive of mob ties. He knew Ruby and described him as a bore loser. Left square bracket 59 right square bracket. Author Norman Mailer and others have questioned why Ruby would have left his two beloved dogs in his car if his killing of Oswald had been planned. Left square bracket 61 right square bracket. Other investigations and dissenting theories. Main article, John F. Kennedy assassination conspiracy theories. Many critics have not accepted the conclusions of the Warren Commission and have proposed several other theories. Ruby's motive. White House correspondent Seth Cantor was a passenger in Kennedy's motorcade. He testified that he had visited Parkland Hospital after Kennedy was shot, and that he felt a tug on his coat as he entered the hospital at about 1:30 p.m. He turned around to see Jack Ruby, who called him by his first name and shook his hand. Left square bracket 62 right square bracket, 78 and 82 left square bracket 44 right square bracket, 41. He said that he had become acquainted with Ruby while he was a reporter for the Dallas Times Herald newspaper. Left square bracket 62 right square bracket, 72 left square bracket 44 right square bracket. According to Cantor, Ruby asked him if he thought that it would be a good idea for him to close his nightclubs for the next 3 nights because of the tragedy, and Cantor responded without thinking that doing so would be a good idea. Left square bracket 44 right square bracket, 41 left square bracket 63 right square bracket left square bracket 62 right square bracket, 80. Ruby denied that he had been at Parkland Hospital, and the Warren Commission dismissed Cantor's testimony, saying that the encounter at Parkland Hospital would have to have taken place in a span of a few minutes before and after 1:30 p.m., as evidenced by telephone company records of calls made by both people. The commission also pointed to contradictory witness testimony and to the lack of video confirmation of Ruby at the scene. Left square bracket 24 right square bracket, 335 and 337. The commission concluded that Cantor probably did not see Ruby at Parkland Hospital and may have been mistaken about both the time and the place that he saw Ruby. Left square bracket 24 right square bracket, 335 and 337. In 1979, the House Select Committee on Assassinations re-examined Cantor's testimony and stated, the Warren Commission concluded that Cantor was mistaken about his Parkland encounter with Ruby, but the committee determined he probably was not. Left square bracket 64 right square bracket, 158 left square bracket 6 right square bracket, 458 and 459. Cantor also reported that Ruby might have tampered with evidence while at Parkland. Left square bracket 44 right square bracket, 192. Cantor researched the Ruby case for years. He wrote in Who Was Jack Ruby? The mob was Ruby's friend, and Ruby could well have been paying off an IOU the day he was used to kill Lee Harvey Oswald. Remember, I have been used for a purpose, the way Ruby expressed it to Chief Justice Warren in their June 7, 1964 session. It would not have been hard for the mob to maneuver Ruby through the ranks of a few negotiable police. Left square bracket 44 right square bracket, 18. The House Select Committee on Assassinations wrote in its 1979 final report, Ruby's shooting of Oswald was not a spontaneous act, in that it involved at least some premeditation. Similarly, the committee believed it was less likely that Ruby entered the police basement without assistance, even though the assistance may have been provided with no knowledge of Ruby's intentions. The committee was troubled by the apparently unlocked doors along the stairway route and the removal of security guards from the area of the garage nearest the stairway shortly before the shooting. There is also evidence that the Dallas Police Department withheld relevant information from the Warren Commission concerning Ruby's entry to the scene of the Oswald transfer. Left square bracket 64 right square bracket 157 and 158. Lieutenant Billy Grammer was a dispatcher for the Dallas Police Department. He said that he received an anonymous phone call at 3 a.m. on November 24 from a man who knew his name. The caller told him that he knew of the plan to move Oswald from the basement and warned that, unless the plans were changed, we are going to kill him. After Oswald was shot, Grammer claimed to have recognized Ruby as the caller. Grammer believed that Ruby's shooting of Oswald was a planned event. Left square bracket 65 right square bracket left square bracket 66 right square bracket. Detective Don Archer testified to the Warren Commission that he said to Ruby, "Jack, I think you killed him." He stated that Ruby looked him straight in the eye and said, "Well, I intended to shoot him 3 times." Cantor believed that Ruby's response to Archer did not suggest a spontaneous reaction, and the word intended implied having prior intention. Left square bracket 44 right square bracket 192. Ruby's explanation for killing Oswald would be exposed as a fabricated legal ploy, according to the House Select Committee on Assassinations. Ruby wrote a note to attorney Joseph Tonaghill. "Joe, you should know this. My first lawyer Tom Howard told me to say that I shot Oswald, so that Caroline and Mrs. Kennedy wouldn't have to come to Dallas to testify. Okay?" Left square bracket 64 right square bracket 158 left square bracket 67 right square bracket left square bracket 6 right square bracket 353 left square bracket 43 right square bracket. G. Robert Blakey, who was chief counsel for the House Select Committee on Assassinations from 1977 to 1979, said, "The most plausible explanation for the murder of Oswald by Jack Ruby was that Ruby had stalked him on behalf of organized crime, trying to reach him on at least 3 occasions in the 48 hours before he silenced him forever." Left square bracket 68 right square bracket. Russell Moore, an acquaintance of Ruby, testified to the commission that Ruby expressed no bitterness towards Oswald and called him a good-looking guy, comparing him to Paul Newman. Left square bracket 69 right square bracket left square bracket 70 right square bracket. David Skeen noted in his book Contract on America that some people claimed that Ruby was upset over the weekend of the assassination, while others said that he was not. On Friday night, TV newsman Vic Robertson Jr. saw Ruby at police headquarters and said that he appeared to be anything but under stress or strain. He seemed happy, jovial, was joking and laughing. Left square bracket 71 right square bracket left square bracket 43 right square bracket. Announcer Glenn Duncan also said that Ruby was not grieving and seemed happy that evidence was piling up against Oswald. Left square bracket 43 right square bracket. Scheme also suggests that Ruby made a candid confession when giving testimony to the Warren Commission. Left square bracket 43 right square bracket. During his testimony, Ruby teared up when talking about a Saturday morning eulogy for Kennedy, but after composing himself, inexplicably said, "I must be a great actor, I tell you that." Left square bracket 42 right square bracket 198 and 199 left square bracket 43 right square bracket. Ruby also remarked that they didn't ask me another question. "If I love the president so much, why wasn't I at the parade?" Referring to the presidential motorcade, and it's strange that perhaps I didn't vote for President Kennedy, or didn't vote at all, that I should build up such a great affection for him. Left square bracket 72 right square bracket 564 and 565 left square bracket 43 right square bracket. Scheme noted that Jada, a stripper at Ruby's club, during an interview with ABC's Paul Good, remarked, "I believe left square bracket Ruby right square bracket disliked Bobby Kennedy." Left square bracket 43 right square bracket. Scheme also noted several people who knew Ruby who claimed that the patriotic statements which Ruby professed were quite out of character. Ruby's gambling business partner Harry Hall told the FBI that Ruby was the type who was interested in any way to make money, and he also said that he could not conceive of Ruby doing anything out of patriotism. Left square bracket 73 right square bracket left square bracket 43 right square bracket. Jack Kelly had known Ruby casually since 1943, and he scoffed at the idea of a patriotic motive being involved by Ruby in the slaying of Oswald. He said that he could not see Ruby killing Oswald out of patriotism, but rather for publicity or for money. Left square bracket 43 right square bracket. Ruby's friend Paul Jones told the FBI that he doubted that Ruby would have become emotionally upset and killed Oswald on the spur of the moment. He felt Ruby would have done it for money. Left square bracket 43 right square bracket. Ruby's lawyers, led by Sam Houston Clinton, appealed to the Texas Court of Criminal Appeals after his 1964 conviction, the highest criminal court in Texas. Ruby's lawyers argued that he could not have received a fair trial in Dallas because of the excessive publicity surrounding the case. Ruby conducted a brief televised news conference in March 1965, the year after his conviction. He stated, "Everything pertaining to what's happening has never come to the surface. The world will never know the true facts of what occurred, my motives. The people who had so much to gain, and had such an ulterior motive for putting me in the position I'm in, will never let the true facts come above board to the world." A reporter asked, "Are these people in very high positions, Jack?" And he responded, "Yes." Left square bracket 74 right square bracket. Cantor speculated in 1978 that the man by the name of Davis that Ruby mentioned to attorney Tom Howard may have been Thomas Eli Davis III, a CIA-connected mercenary. Left square bracket 6 right square bracket, 359 N-361, 226 left square bracket 75 right square bracket. Dallas Deputy Sheriff L. Maddox claimed, "Ruby told me," he said, "well, they injected me for a cold. He said it was cancer cells. That's what he told me, Ruby did. I said, you don't believe that bullshit. He said, I damn sure do." One day, when I started to leave, Ruby shook hands with me and I could feel a piece of paper in his palm. It was a note in which Ruby claimed that he was part of a conspiracy, and that his role was to silence Oswald. Left square bracket 76 right square bracket. Not long before Ruby died, according to an article in the London Sunday Times, he told psychiatrist Werner Tudor that the assassination was an act of overthrowing the government and that he knew who had President Kennedy killed. He added, "I am doomed. I do not want to die. But I am not insane. I was framed to kill Oswald." Left square bracket 76 right square bracket left square bracket 77 right square bracket left square bracket 6 right square bracket 341. David Scheme presented evidence that Mafia leaders Carlos Marcello and Santo Traficant, Jr. and organized labor leader Jimmy Hoffa ordered the assassination of Kennedy. Scheme cited in particular a 25-fold increase in the number of out-of-state telephone calls from Jack Ruby to associates of these crime bosses in the months before the assassination. Left square bracket 78 right square bracket. According to author Vincent Bugliosi, both the Warren Commission and the House Select Committee on Assassinations determined that all of these calls were related to Ruby seeking help from the American Guild of Variety Artists in a matter concerning two of his competitors. Left square bracket 79 right square bracket. The House Select Committee on Assassinations report stated that most of Ruby's phone calls during late 1963 were related to his labor troubles. In the light of the identity of some of the individuals with whom Ruby spoke, however, the possibility of other matters being discussed could not be dismissed. Left square bracket 80 right square bracket. Bill Bonanno, son of New York Mafia boss Joseph Bonanno, stated in Bound by Honor that he realized that certain Mafia families were involved in the JFK assassination when Ruby killed Oswald, since Bonanno was aware that Ruby was an associate of Chicago mobster Sam Giancana. Left square bracket 81 right square bracket. Associations with organized crime and gun-running allegations. The House Select Committee on Assassinations undertook a similar investigation of Ruby in 1979, 15 years after the written report, and said that he had a significant number of associations and direct and indirect contacts with underworld figures and the Dallas criminal element, but that he was not a member of organized crime. Left square bracket 82 right square bracket. Ruby was known to have been acquainted with both the police and the Mafia. The SCA said that Ruby had known Chicago mobster Sam Giancana, 1908 and 1975, and Joseph Campisi, 1918 and 1990, since 1947, and had been seen with them on many occasions. Left square bracket 83 right square bracket left square bracket 6 right square bracket 346. After an investigation of Joe Campisi, the SCA found, while Campisi's technical characterization in federal law enforcement records as an organized crime member has ranged from definite to suspected to negative, it is clear that he was an associate or friend of many Dallas-based organized crime members, particularly Joseph Civello, during the time he was the head of the Dallas organization. There was no indication that Campisi had engaged in any specific organized crime-related activities. Left square bracket 84 right square bracket. G. Robert Blakey, the chief counsel for the SCA, called Campisi the number 2 man in the mob in Dallas. He wrote in a 1993 article for the Washington Post, "It is difficult to dispute the underworld pedigree of Jack Ruby, though the Warren Commission did it in 1964." Left square bracket 85 right square bracket. Similarly, a PBS Frontline investigation into the connections between Ruby and Dallas organized crime figures reported the following. In 1963, Sam and Joe Campisi were leading figures in the Dallas underworld. Jack knew the Campises and had been seen with them on many occasions. The Campises were lieutenants of Carlos Marcello, the mafia boss who had reportedly talked of killing the president. Left square bracket 86 right square bracket. On the night before Kennedy was assassinated, Ruby and Ralph Paul had dinner together at the Egyptian lounge run by Joe and Sam Campisi. Left square bracket 87, right square bracket. After Ruby was jailed for killing Lee Harvey Oswald, Joe Campisi regularly visited him. Left square bracket 87 right square bracket. Howard P. Willans was the third highest official in the Department of Justice. Left square bracket 88 right square bracket and assistant counsel to J. Lee Rankin. He helped organize the Warren Commission. Willans also outlined the Commission's investigative priorities. Left square bracket 89 right square bracket and terminated an investigation of Ruby's Cuban-related activities. Left square bracket 90 right square bracket. An FBI report states that Willans' father had been Tony Accardo's next-door neighbor going back to 1958. Left square bracket 91 right square bracket. In 1946, Tony Accardo allegedly asked Jack Ruby to go to Texas with Mafia associates Pat Mano and Ronnie Nappi to make sure that Dallas County Sheriff Steve Duffieri would acquiesce to the Mafia's expansion into Dallas. Left square bracket 92 right square bracket. Ruby went to see a man named Louis McWillie in Cuba 4 years before the assassination of Kennedy. McWillie had previously run illegal gambling establishments in Texas, and Ruby considered him one of his closest friends. Left square bracket 42 right square bracket. 201 McWillie was supervising gambling activities at Havana's Tropicana Club when Ruby visited him in August 1959. Ruby told the Warren Commission that his August trip to Cuba was merely a social visit at the invitation of McWillie. Left square bracket 42 right square bracket. 201 The SCA later concluded that Ruby most likely was serving as a courier for gambling interests. Left square bracket 64 right square bracket. 152 left square bracket 93 right square bracket left square bracket 6 right square bracket. 337 The committee also found circumstantial but not conclusive evidence that Ruby met with Santo Traficant in Cuba sometime in 1959. Left square bracket 64 right square bracket 152 and 153 left square bracket 6 right square bracket 338. James E. Beard, who claimed to be a poker-playing friend of Ruby, told the Dallas Morning News and the FBI that Ruby smuggled guns and ammunition from Galveston Bay, Texas to Fidel Castro's guerrillas in Cuba in the late 1950s. Beard said that Ruby was in it for the money. It wouldn't matter which side, just the one that would pay him the most. Beard said that the guns were stored in a 2-story house near the waterfront, and that he saw Ruby and his associates load many boxes of new guns, including automatic rifles and handguns on a 50-foot military surplus boat. He claimed that each time that the boat left with guns and ammunition, Jack Ruby was on the boat. Left square bracket 94 right square bracket left square bracket 95 right square bracket left square bracket 6 right square bracket 335.